Welcome to Cash Chats with me, Andy Webb from BeCleverWithYourCash.com. This is the podcast to help you get the most from your money. Episode 383, I'll be talking about premium bonds. Just how much could you win with the full £50,000 saved there? I'll also be looking at last week's Bank of England base rate decision. Did it stay the same? Did it move? Could it finally be cut? Well, no spoilers here, but not much has changed just yet. But we do have an idea of where things could be going this year with the rate and inflation. So I'll share that with you as well. Plus, also last week was the British Bank Awards, where customers vote for their favourites. So things like Best British Bank, Best Building Society, Best Money App. So I'll share with you some of the big winners there. All of that and deals of the week, which include a new bank switching offer and an increase to the Trading 212 cashback. That and plenty more. So make sure you stay tuned. This is episode 383 of Cash Chats. Now, you know what I think of a lot of the different banks and building societies and credit card companies, because I tell you about it here on the podcast, on the YouTube channel, over at BeCleverWithYourCash.com. Always very frank where we think something's good and if we think something's bad. But that's just one view. Or now there's a team of us, there's a few different views there, but broadly speaking, that's just what we think. But you guys might think something quite different. And that's where the British Bank Awards can come into play. And this took place, say, last week. It was organised by Smart Money People, which obviously are our sister site with BeCleverYourCash.com. It's happened over the last good few years now, a number of different categories. I thought I'd just share with you some of those winners, because what's quite good about this is, although some of the names you will know, some of those bigger names, it's also quite nice because some of the smaller ones pop up. And again, because this is based on customer reviews, customers who have enjoyed and appreciated the service, or at least just had a good service rather than bad service. If you are looking, particularly when it comes to things like savings, you're looking for different providers, you're thinking, who are these people? Can I trust them? Are they going to be, is it safe for my money to go there? Am I going to get a good experience? Some of these winners can be a good reference point for you. And obviously, of course, there are a load more customer reviews over at smartmoneypeople.com as well, where you can read about more of the others. In fact, you can share your own review as well. But I thought it was just worth sharing some of those big ones with you to help you give an idea of what people think. And whether, lovely if you agree or not, let me know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, or just send us a message over on all the other social channels if you are just listening to the podcast. So the big award, Best British Bank, went to Chase Bank, and they won it last year as well. So I kind of see this quite a lot, and obviously a lot of good things that Chase have been doing since they launched in terms of rewards. And I think that's probably a big reason why people have wanted to go along with them and choose them as their kind of big thing. That 1% cashback, obviously, for me is kind of one of the best things there. But it is a really decent app as well. Definitely something worth looking at. Now, when it comes to the best banking app itself, this one was actually won by Starling. I like Starling. I use Starling as my main bank, and the app is really good, particularly compared to many of those kind of more high street banks. Although there are changes all the time, the kind of older banks, they are trying to catch up, still trying to catch up. I still think Starling, I think that's not, I don't begrudge Starling winning that one at all. I do think actually maybe next year Monzo's in with a good shout at that, because I think it has improved massively. But again, it depends what the customers think. Starling also picked up Best Children's Financial Provider, and this is their Kite card. Certainly, if you have kids, it's something to have a look at. I haven't done a kind of good look at those different children's banking accounts. I haven't had time to do that, but maybe that's something we know. We've got more people working with me on the team. That's something we can look into in more detail. If you guys are interested, just let us know. What else? Now, ethical finance. This is something I talk to you guys quite a lot about. I'm not going to ram it down your throats. I'm going to tell you about it. This is something that you might want to consider, because if you are banking with some of the bigger guys, then they are not necessarily going to be doing the things with your money that you might agree with. Yeah, and that could well be from funding a new kind of oil pipeline through to actually investing money in arms manufacturers. Well, this category at the British Bank Awards to kind of reflect the banks that do something different. And I think it's probably no surprise that the winner here was Triodos. They are head and shoulders, in my opinion, and obviously from the voters as well, that this, the kind of, if you really, really are worried about your money, that is the one to go for. Personally, from a functional perspective, it's not necessarily the best app. But again, sometimes you might want to make that compromise. Do you want your money to be doing really transparent, or do you want to be having the Wolf's Wizzy app? Again, maybe hopefully you might be able to find somewhere in between. But that's what the people went for when they were voting. Now, in terms of newcomers, this one went to Cheddar. Now, Cheddar is a cashback app, which works a little bit different to the likes of Top Cashback and Quidco. There is some on cashback stuff there, which there aren't many of them, so I've not really felt that's necessarily a good market there. But where they do have some good offers, what I think is worth having a look at, are kind of cashback on gift cards. Yes, there are other places do this as well. Hyperjar do it, Jam Donut do it. But where Cheddar's really interesting is that they are using your banking data sometimes to analyze whether you might be getting sent a different offer. So it's a really interesting thing. I think there's a lot of potential there. But yeah, that was voted for best newcomer. Now, talking of best personal finance app rather than best banking app, the winner here was Chip. Chip, I think, is a pretty easy to use app for your savings. From a personal perspective, I think the auto savings feature, although it is amazing, the fact they charge for it makes it a little bit redundant. But yeah, interesting. That one there voted for best app there. Now, business banking. I don't talk about business banking too often here. I did a video a few years ago and an article a few years ago when I was looking for different banking apps for myself. That's when I had the time to really look into it. And it's something I'll probably kind of sort of share with you guys more often, because I know it's not too regularly, but it's definitely something of interest to a lot of people, particularly people who are sole traders or maybe a bit of a side hustle. Well, the winner here was Monzo. Again, free. If you want free banking, business banking, that is a really good option to go for. I would say Monzo and Starling are probably the leading options there. A few more interesting ones just to quickly share with you, particularly when you think about these smaller names, you might not know whether they were worth going for. Best Building Society. That one was won by Darlington Building Society. The Customer Service Champion, that was won by Marsden Building Society. The Treating Customers Fairly Champion, that was won by Newbury Building Society. So again, building societies doing quite well in some of those other categories. And when it comes to savings, again, interesting ones here, because often I share with you what ones are the best rates, but not necessarily the ones that are voted for as the best ongoing ones. Shawbrook won best savings provider, and Darlington Building Society won best building society savings provider. So there you go, 2024 British Bank Awards. They are some of the key results. You can check out that full list over at the Smart Money People website, and I will link to that in the show notes as well. Now, if you are watching this episode of Cash Chats on YouTube, if you want the next two sections, then you're going to have to click through and watch them in separate videos. We've uploaded them separately just to make it a little bit easier for everyone. First of all, there is my comparison of results for premium bonds for 3 different savers who had £50,000 saved in, the maximum you could have in there. Find out how well or how badly they did in comparison to each other, and also in comparison to the average easy access savings accounts over that time. Plus, details of the Bank of England's latest decision on the base rate here in England. What is going to happen in the UK to inflation and the base rate as the year goes on. If we will finally see this cut, when could it happen? But now what we're going to do is talk about deals of the week in episode 383 of Cash Chats. The first one to tell you about is a new switching deal. I have done a much more detailed analysis of this over on becleveryourcash.com and a video over on the YouTube channel if you want to find out much more about it. But I'll give you the headlines. This is £175, which is the same as they were offering just a month or so ago. There has been a difference, though. Here is a change in the terms and conditions, the requirements needed to get this. You need to, as in money, £1,000 into the account within 30 days of opening it. That hasn't changed. You need to switch over to direct debits or standing orders from your old bank. That was also in the last promotion. Remember, if you don't have any direct debit set up, don't worry, because you can set up standing orders, which are really easy. That is money that you are transferring from your old account to a different savings account, current account, or if you haven't got another one of those, to a partner's account, and they can just send it all back to you. That's the same. What's new this time is you must use your debit card at least 5 times in those first 30 days. Now, it does no minimum on that, but again, that's something to bear in mind with that. Again, if you want to read the full analysis of this and more details on those terms and conditions, then do go to becleverwithyourcash.com. Of course, that's where you can go for details of all these different deals I'm speaking about as well. A quick update. I did speak recently about the Trading 212 debit card that was launched, and I kind of shared that I didn't think it was massively exciting. 0.5% cash back could easily be beaten in lots and lots of places, despite the kind of near perfect, well, not perfect, but near perfect exchange rates on using currency for overseas. Well, obviously that is some feedback that are kind of seeped back, maybe not just from me, maybe from lots of customers, because Trading 212 have increased the cash back to 1.5% for 6 months. Well, almost 6 months, basically until the October. After October, it will drop back to 0.5%. But if you were thinking of giving it a go, that is a very good rate, which is hard to beat right now. However, you still, at the time of recording this, cannot add your Trading 212 card to Apple Pay or Google Pay. They're saying they hopefully will get it on Apple Pay this month and Google Pay the month after, but that will restrict you to using those virtual cards unless you want to pay £5 to get a physical card sent in the post. But that's going to be, I think, a bit of a waste of time for most people. But just so you know, if you are interested in giving it a go. Incidentally, they have also announced a 5.2% paying cash ISA will launch They've given a lot of the details for this. They haven't given the date, though. I don't think it's actually going to happen until the 8th of June, because that's when the terms and conditions are changing. But you never know. Keep an eye out. I'll obviously let you know when it is available and whether it's worth giving it a go. Now, if you are someone who has a number of Nectar points, it's well worth having a look at your account to see if you've got this offer, because it's a pretty decent promotion. You can exchange up to £25 worth of your points into an eBay voucher or to credit to use on eBay. As long as you do that by the end of May, you'll get 50% of your spend back. So basically, if there's something you want to buy on eBay that costs £25, it can be multiple transactions, you're going to get 50% off. So it's well worth having a look if you've got that. Obviously, not everybody does have it, but it's certainly one that I'm going to try and take advantage of. Now, a view I shared with you last year or maybe a year before that, for a long time, there was a lovely little hack that I had where you could get basically for £1 a month a free View cinema ticket. And this was by subscribing to the Telegraph digital subscription. Then they got rid of these View tickets. They disappeared for a long time. But I spotted that they've just come back. But the terms have changed slightly, but it's definitely worth having a look. Now, to get this View cinema ticket once a month, you now need to have either had one of the more expensive subscriptions for at least 1 month or the cheaper digital one for 12 months. Now, I'm not saying you should be paying for the Telegraph subscription month after month just to get a free cinema ticket. That is not worth it. Remember I said about getting it for £1, potentially less, because there are trials. And so what you want to do now is you want to take out a trial of the Telegraph digital extra subscription. And currently they have £1 for 3 months. So you can sign up. The first month is free. Then you pay 50p for each next 2 months. And at the start of every month, normally the first Friday, you'll be able to claim that free View ticket. Now, these do come and go quite fast. It might be too late to do this for May, but it's well worth keeping an eye on this, signing up, wait a month, 30 days, and then see if you can get the free ticket in June. And then obviously you get another one in July, and then you get another one in August. So potentially there's 2 or 3 tickets available here, depending on that availability in that first month, 2 or 3 tickets that you can get for just £1. And they were generally, based on experience last time, they lasted for, I think, 12 months. So you've got plenty of time. Obviously, that could change, but well worth having a look at this. But remember to cancel that subscription before you get charged. Cancel that trial before you get charged the full amount, because it is very expensive and I don't think worth it, unless you are a Telegraph reader, of course. And a couple of quick ones to finish on. Lifeweights are giving away 4 small bottles of wine for £6. So that's not bad. That's equivalent of 1 whole full bottle for £6, but you get to try 4 different wines. And I think they're quite handy when you're cooking and you just want like a little bit to splash in there. It's going to be cheaper than you're going to get by going to the supermarket. And National Trust passes. There have been a number of these promotions recently from Reach PLC, which basically they are the publishers of the Mirror and a few other kind of local newspapers and a few online sites. These offers have been really popular. They've gone, but there are still some available. And you want a link to this, this is over at becleveryourcash.com, and you can get a family National Trust pass for 1 day you can use until the middle of June. My name is Andy. We'll be back on Thursday with another episode of Your Money This Week, looking back at the big personal finance stories from the last, it'll be 2 weeks this time, so we didn't do it last week. So make sure you check us out for that as well. Till next time, cheers.